Good morning everybody, how are you doing? I just want to start off this video by saying a massive thank you to everybody who watched my previous video on my experience of being a tall girl growing up in London. It's one of my most viewed videos to date, so I'm really appreciative. I also want to say thank you to my new subscribers. Thank you for stopping by and thank you for choosing to join this channel. Just remember to hit the notification bell so that you're always made aware when I upload something new. This is the second part of my story. Now I'm uploading it today because I forgot I'm going away next week, and where we're going, I'm not sure what the Wi-Fi situation is going to be like, so I wanted to get this uploaded so that I can start afresh with something different next week. So today I'm going to be speaking about whether or not I believe being tall is a pro or a con. Now, to help you understand how I arrived at that conclusion, I'm going to take you through some of the steps I went through on my journey to healing. So there are a number of steps I took personally to try and make myself feel better about who I was, or to try and find some kind of solution to what was going on in my life as a result of being tall. So the first thing I did was I went to go and see a doctor because I recognised I was suffering from depression. I wasn't able to get up. I wasn't able to function. I dropped out of society and I ended up not really functioning in society for 3 years. So I knew I needed some kind of help. So I went to the doctors. I saw a very sympathetic gentleman. I explained to him why I was there, and he suggested, first of all, that he would prescribe me some antidepressants. Wasn't thrilled about that, but that's what he said. So I said, okay. And then he said that he was going to put me in touch with a counsellor. And he did both of those things. Now, when I got the medication, I remember taking one out of the bottle and just looking at it and saying to myself, nah, this isn't what I want to do. So I ended up throwing the whole lot away. I didn't take one tablet. I just didn't want to know. And I explain my reasoning for that later on. I then began counselling. I went to go and see a guy. If I'm not mistaken, he came across to me actually as a recent graduate from wherever it is they train counsellors. And he was very young. He was probably in his mid to late 20s. And, you know, I saw him, I explained to him why I was there, and like, you know, he's very sympathetic and this, that, and the other. And then I remember one day he had the idea of playing this tape of sounds of a meadow. So you had the birds cheeping in the background and all these pleasant sounds. And I remember sitting there thinking, what the heck is that? What is this? And I couldn't understand what he was doing. And he said, I just want you to like focus on the sounds, the soothing sounds. Imagine the wind blowing through the grass and listen to the sounds of the birds cheeping in the summertime. And I was like, why? He explained that this would help me have another focus other than just constantly focusing on the fact that I'm depressed because I'm tall. And I remember thinking, well, how is this helping me to deal with reality? Zoning out and imagining I'm somewhere else other than where I really am isn't gonna help me, you know? So yeah, my face must have said that because he turned the tape off after a while because it wasn't happening. After about 6 months, we both came to a mutual agreement to disband the counselling because it wasn't effective. No tea or shade to him, I just needed something different and he wasn't able to provide that something different. The final significant thing I did was I went to go and join a tall club. They had an event somewhere outside of London, I can't remember now, and I went there with this girl. Even on the way to the tall club event, we were harassed by these two guys, and one of them threw some chewing gum out. I was wearing a black cloak, and he threw chewing gum, and I didn't realise until the girl turned around to see what's going on. She picked the chewing gum off my coat. These really stupid guys. And so that already put a downer on my spirit. So by the time we got there, I wasn't very happy. Got into the place and I was I the second or third tallest person there, but I was the youngest. All of the other people there were probably late 20s, early 30s, career people, and I just couldn't see how I could connect. Do you know what I'm saying? They had these, is it once a month or once every other month get-togethers, again, in venues outside of London that inevitably involved going to a pub. Now, I was between 15 to 19 and I wasn't part of the going to the pub culture. I didn't drink and I just couldn't relate to it. Do you know what I'm saying? My first visit to the club, I knew it would be my last visit. Nothing to do with them. They were all very loving, very kind and very accommodating. But for me, my immediate impression was I was having to retreat into a subculture in order to feel like I was normal. And I didn't want to do that. Now hear me, this is what my teenage mind was saying. There is nothing wrong with tall clubs. There's nothing wrong with having that solidarity with people who are like yourself, whom you can connect with and take courage and support and comfort from. But for me at that time, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be able to stand on my own 2 feet and be at peace with myself by myself. I didn't want to have to depend on anybody in order to feel like I was okay being tall. So why didn't these 3 things work for me? Why didn't the medication work? Why didn't the counselling work? Why didn't the tall person's club work? Why weren't these things solutions for me? Why weren't they tools that I felt I could use to be at peace with who I am, or to be at peace with who I was? I didn't have the vocabulary for it back then, but over the years I've asked myself questions and really tried to unpack what was going on in my heart and my mind at that time. And I've realised I didn't want to need medication. I didn't want to need counselling. I didn't want to need support groups in order to be okay being me, in order to be able to navigate my way through my life without falling into depression. I wanted to find a permanent solution to a lifelong issue because I'm going to be tall for the rest of my life, and I knew there had to be a permanent solution. Temporary solutions weren't going to help me. They just weren't. Okay, so if I took the medication, would I need more? If I went to counselling, would I now have to depend upon counselling in order to be able to get myself through the day? With a tall club, their events were too far away. They were always outside of London. I wouldn't always have the finances or the emotional energy to be able to travel outside of London to connect with them, number one. Number two, as I said earlier, they were into going to pubs and things like that, and the people were a lot older than me, so I didn't feel like I could relate. What if one day I was really down about something? Would I have to wait until the next event to be able to get the support I needed? Do you know what I'm saying? I knew that the ability to deal with my day-to-day life had to come from within. It could not come from without. All of these things, they have their place, the support group, the counselling and the medication for people who are suffering from depression. But those things for me, particularly in regards to the support group and the counselling, they were to be the branches and the leaves of my tree of self-acceptance. They could not form the roots. They could not be the foundation upon which I stood. External affirmation and external support was not what I could stand upon. I had to stand upon an internal conviction and belief that I was fine the way I was. And that's another reason why all of that just wasn't really gelling with me. Because I'm the kind of person that if I'm convicted, if my heart and my mind are of one accord about a particular issue, then that's it. I can stand alone. I don't need anybody to agree with me. I don't need anybody to back me up. I can stand on my own. And when it came to being able to be at peace with myself and navigate my way through life, I wanted to be able to stand on my own 2 feet. I didn't want to have any props, even though they are good props and they work for other people. I didn't want to have those props for me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just the way my mindset was working at the time because of how I work, because of how I'm wired. So here is some of the conclusions that I've arrived at or lessons I've learnt. The first one was that even if I had got my wish and I was somehow magically made smaller, there would have been some other thing that people would have tried to start on me about. How do I know? Because people are bullied and mocked for all kinds of things. It's not just height related. Being Josephine average would not have excluded me from being noticed. As long as there are people on this planet who make it their business to go around causing problems or just being obnoxious and ignorant, I would have ended up in someone else's crosshairs sooner or later. If someone wants to start trouble with you, they are going to, whether you have a unique feature or not. Now I think this was the big one for me. When I was in my well phase, by the time I had fully conquered all my demons concerning my height, this woman got in contact with me via a friend, asked me if I could contribute to her book. And one of the questions she asked me was, what were the problems I had with my height? And my answer was, I don't have a problem with my height. I have a problem with people. And that really was a revelation to me, because up until the time she asked my question, I hadn't quite looked at it like that. And I realized I was fine with how I looked and how tall I was until people started to give me a hard time about it. So the problem wasn't my height. The problem was the way people were treating me. If you're like me and you have some unique feature that you are sensitive about or uncomfortable with, ask yourself, have you always been uncomfortable with it? Or did you become uncomfortable with it as a result of how people were treating you, like you being mocked or bullied for it? I'm 100% certain that if I were to do a poll, the answers will come back that people became sensitive about a particular feature after they were mocked about it, not before. So that shows you that it's people that's a problem, not the feature you have. It's people. And I recognize that people are everywhere. Wherever I'm going to go, I'm always going to be the tallest, if not one of the most tallest people they've ever seen in their life. So I wanted to be able to have a permanent solution to feeling the way I felt. So I have to learn, which is what I felt at the time, how to be at peace with myself without anyone else around me, because people aren't always going to be around me. People aren't always going to be at the end of the phone to encourage me. People aren't always going to be with me when I'm going through the things I'm going through. So I needed to be able to find a way to handle it permanently, once and for all, by myself. This is an encouragement and a plea to you. If you have some unique feature, do not self-deprecate. Do not make jokes about yourself to try and make other people feel comfortable being around you. Your life is not about trying to make other people feel comfortable. You can't make people really like you. They either do or they don't. So don't waste any energy making fun of yourself or, trying to put yourself down and making a joke about the thing just so that people can laugh around you and you feel like you fit in more. Never try to fit in, ever. So you're supposed to stand out. You are born to stand out. Be who you're supposed to be and don't apologize for it. Don't try and do anything to make yourself seem less intimidating or more acceptable to other people. Their insecurities when they're around you are their own problem. There are counsellors for that. You are not to take on other people's issues. I always say I'm not a baggage handler. I'm not taking on anyone else's baggage. If people don't like me, that's their prerogative. They don't have to like me. But I am not going to do anything to make them feel comfortable around me. People who are my friends are comfortable around me because they're at peace with themselves. And typically you'll find that people that feel the need to talk smack and to put you down are not at peace themselves. Like I said, there are psychiatrists and counselors and therapists to be able to help them navigate that minefield. But I'm not going to do it. It's not my responsibility and it's not your responsibility. Shine. Hold your head up high, your shoulders back. If they feel some type of way, let them feel some type of way. It's not your problem. People think that the fact that tall people might struggle to buy clothes is a con. But I say not being able to find everything I want all the time is a temporary inconvenience that does not translate that my height is a problem. If I don't find the clothes I'm looking for, I can get them made. I can get shoes made to measure, right? These are all expensive, yes, but there are still solutions. Therefore, being tall is not a con. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think it's the best time right here, right now to be a tall person in London, specifically if you're a woman, because I found that many of the mainstream shops have a tall section. I can even get things from Primark. So it's actually cheaper to be a tall woman now if I just wanted mainstream stuff than at any time in my life. Do you know what I'm saying? So that isn't a con for me. These are temporary inconveniences that have a solution. Even though I didn't know how to verbalize it at the time, I just wanted to be free to be me and to accept being myself, which is ultimately what happened, even though it wasn't in the way I thought it was going to happen. I thought I couldn't be happy being tall. I thought I couldn't be at peace. I couldn't have joy. I couldn't have self-acceptance or laugh or smile being tall. But God had a way of working things out that I would remain the height I was, and I'd have all of those things which I thought were completely and utterly beyond my reach. What I was looking for was a carefree, happy-go-lucky life I had prior to the depression as a result of being tall. I didn't realise that's what I was looking for, but that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to go back to that place before all of these things happened. And God did make a way for me to go back to that place and even go forward with greater confidence than I've ever had at any time in my life, you know? So, in conclusion, what are the pros and cons of being tall? There are absolutely no cons as far as I see. There are no cons. There are no cons to being me. Everything about me is a blessing. I love being me. I love my life right now, and I love my life where it's going. I love the path I'm on. I absolutely love it. There is not a single person, living or dead, who I'd rather be than me. That is a miraculous statement for me to make, because when I was in my teens, I could give you a whole slew of people I'd rather be than me. I wanted to be anybody other than me because my life was a trial, it was a burden, it was bleak, it was gloomy, it was oppressive. I hated being me. But now, there is no one anywhere, I don't care who they are, that I want to swap places with, even for a single second. If I could do my life all over again, I would come back as me. Same height, still Nigerian, still born and raised in London, still born in the 70s, the greatest decade ever, hello. Still with my siblings, still with my parents. There is not a single thing that I would change. I love being me. If there are no cons, then everything's a pro. Everything to me is a pro. I don't take on board people's foolishness. People, like I said before, people being ignorant towards me is their own problem. That is not my problem. I don't take on board, you know, ignorant, obnoxious behavior as a con. I don't take it on board as anything that's got anything to do with me. That's their own ignorance. They're shaming themselves in public. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Light has no communion with darkness. I am handcrafted this way, 6 or 7 inches tall, for a specific purpose. I can't imagine myself being any other way. And I just want to end this by saying to you, if you are struggling with accepting an element of who you are, I say to you, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Light has no communion with darkness. Stop listening to the nonsense that people are saying to you and start embracing the truth about who you are. Now, don't say that lightly or flippantly, because it took me a while too. So, if you need to go and see a counsellor, see a counsellor. If you need to join support groups, join support groups. Join all the groups you can that will help you grow and develop into the person you're supposed to be. If you're suffering from depression and your doctor prescribes you medication, you know, have a conversation with them about it, but take it. Medication can act as a clearing in the woods or an oasis in the desert for you to be able to sit and think and chill for a little bit and start thinking about long-term solutions to the issue you're taking medication for. The thing you hate about yourself the most can be the platform that springboards you into a completely amazing future. And also, as well, if you're a believer and you're struggling with issues, pray. You know, don't rule out prayer. Even if you've never tried praying before, you can pray, right? Try and see what happens. So I want to say to you, it's time to come out of the darkness. If you've been in a funk or been in a depression for a long time because of something that you're sensitive about, it's time to step out and to live the rest of your life in the light, like I am. So that's the end of my story. I hope that answered your question, Paddy. I really enjoyed doing this, actually. I really, really have. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Next month, if there are any other topics you want me to address, please feel free to contact me via Instagram or to leave me a message under this video. And if I think it's a good topic and something that's quite meaty, I'll tackle it and I'll put together a video about it. But that's it from me for now. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And the next time I see you, I'll be in the Lake District. Take care. Bye-bye.